Bro, I'm just sipping on that tea. Don't worry about me. What's up, my dudes? Finally, Spency Boy got on these 2023 aerial Supercross tracks on MX bikes. This is East Rutherford right here. This is the first one I've been on, okay? I know there's been everybody and their grandmother been asking me, yo, Spence, when you gonna get on the new 2023 aerial Supercross tracks? And it's so much better and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah, so basically the fact that you have to pay for them, that was the reason why I didn't just instantly hop on them. I know that's like a big drama thing in the MX bikes community right now. We're going to try to save that for a separate video later, okay? You know what I'm saying? But for this video, I'm just reviewing this specific track right here. And yeah, obviously, these 23 tracks are better than the 2022 tracks. At least with this East Rutherford track, this is the only one I've rode on so far. As far as the 2023s, this one really wasn't as hard as I was thinking it was going to be. It really wasn't as, like, crazy difficulty, you know, as what I was kind of anticipating on it. Of course, I'm kind of used to riding on like the 2022 Oakland Supercross track. You know, that one where you got to jump those massive jumps across the start straight. You know, that kind of track, you got to be a lot more on the gas right out of the corners. Whereas with these 2023s, I feel like it's just more open. You know, the track scaling's more open. Feels like, especially if you're used to some of those 2022 tracks, it's going to feel like you got all the time in the world in the corners to be able to get on the gas and still hit the big jump. You know what I'm saying? But like, to be honest with you guys, no shit, like, Spency Boy real talk, I was hitting these big quad rhythms on this track like 5 laps into the track. And I haven't even rode on any of the other 2023 aerial tracks yet. And I barely even play MX bikes. So it really isn't to that crazy level of skill gap or difficulty as far as just getting around the track, like the jumps and the bigger rhythms and stuff like that. It's not that hard. It's really not. I just feel like they've kind of got these tracks to a, like, basically this is like baseline to me. You know, this is like just like normal, adequate, you know, pro level Supercross tracks. I'm not going to say this is like above and beyond or better than I expected or anything like that. This is just like what's to be expected at this point. Certainly since they're paid tracks now. I mean, you know, if you get the whole season pass, it's like 20 something bucks, which is like half the price of the entire game, which is insane. But yeah, I'm not going to harp on these MX bikes, you know, aerial tracks not having as much pre-made. I mean, I don't think this track has any pre-made ruts or pre-made roughness or anything like that. But I'm not really gonna, you know, dog on RF. I'm not gonna dog on aerial for that, because the terrain deformation on MX bikes is actually decent. It's actually somewhat good. You know, and that's the difference between, I'm always complaining about the MX Simulator RF tracks not having any pre-made ruts and stuff like that, because the terrain deformation system sucks in that game. It's terrible. It's not even made for the game engine of the game. But very differently here on MX bikes, I know a lot of you probably expect me to, you know, dock some points from aerial for not having any pre-made ruts or anything, but I'm really not, because the game engine works a lot better with terrain deformation on MX bikes than it does on MX Sim. So you can get away a lot more with having Supercross tracks like this on MX bikes that don't have a lot of pre-made, because the terrain deformation system makes up for it. But it doesn't on MX Sim. You see the difference there? So I'm really not like mad about this track not having any pre-made. I mean, there could have been an inside rut here and there, but like, I'm not mad about it. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that's really where the majority of the skill gap is going to come from on these tracks, would have to be the terrain deformation system, because like I say, I'm far from a pro rider in this game. I'm far from really like putting the time into this game, man. I'm just getting on these tracks having fun. Like I said, I've not even touched any of the other 2023 aerial Supercross tracks, and for me to be able to hop on here and be jumping some quad lines, jumping, you know, the triple ends, you know, getting over the main Supercross triple, like, I just assume that the terrain deformation, once that gets kind of worked in on the track, then it starts making some of those bigger lines a little bit more tricky and challenging. But yeah, overall, like, track looks good. Stadium looks really cool. It's got a nice updated look to it. The you know, the ground decal looks good. Dirt decal looks good. The jumps feel good. They're like the 22 tracks. Everything's just a little bit more spread out, a little bit more, you know, open, elongated. It's not really like the jumps are so much more peaked than they were in 22. It's just there's more distance there, but you also have a lot more run up to the jump faces. So it's not really like they're that much more difficult. I mean, yeah, there's some of the 22 tracks that are really easy, but like if you compare this track to like 2022 Oakland, this is not any harder than that. There's no way you can convince me of that. It's just not. Like, there's some triple ends on that Oakland track from 22 that you got to be way more precise, way more on the gas out of the corner to be able to hit the jumps. You know, this right here, it's more like you just got to somewhat make sure you're paying attention when you're coming around the corner and not slide out, you know, and you're still going to be able to hit the jump ins because there's so much room. There's so much more room to just kind of carry the speed around, you know what I mean? But yeah, the tractions do feel better on these 23s. They just feel more natural, more normal than the 22s. A lot of those 22s had kind of a weird slick feeling to them. I don't know, it's hard to gauge like this exact track because I haven't rode on any of the other 23s yet, but definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. Yeah, it's cool to see MX bikes get to this point. It definitely took them long enough. I'll say that for sure. These are kind of like the kind of track scaling and the track designs that I thought we were going to get last year, if I'm being completely honest with you. This is the kind of like, you know, like I'm saying, to that baseline level of track design where it actually seems like somebody knew what the hell they were doing when they were making the track. That's exactly the kind of tracks I thought we were going to have in 2022. So it just seems like that all kind of got pushed back a little bit, you know, and then with the game kind of changing some of the updates and physics and stuff, it made it to where they kind of had to create the tracks differently last year. But now it seems like everything's kind of based off of this Beta 18 OEM bike pack. So yeah, man, it's the jumps are not crazy peaked. Like, yeah, I will admit the Supercross triple's pretty nice sized on this track, distance wise. You got to be on the gas, you know. But like as far as the rhythms, like there's a lot of room for error. Actually, you can let off the gas, you can come up a little bit short and hit like a smaller rhythm, you know. But when it comes to like hitting some of the bigger quad lines, I mean, it really ain't that crazy hard to do. It ain't that crazy hard to hit those jumps, man. I'm telling you, I'm really not even good at this game. And the fact that I can do that, it's like, I don't know. I feel like they're eventually going to make some of their rhythms and stuff a little bit, once they get the jumps and the transitions a little more peaked out, it's going to make that part of the game a little bit trickier, but currently it just seems like the bigger jump rhythms, you just basically got to grease the landing and just hold the gas down. It's pretty much all you got to do. You don't have to do too much crazy, you know, leaning on the bike or anything like that. So anyways, guys, we're getting back into MX bikes. I came in here and got these tracks. We're going to take a look at all the other ones, obviously, but This is just now getting back into it. I know a lot of you guys want me to check this shit out. Spency Boy getting in here. We're starting to play the game just a little bit more, adjusting a couple things with the bike. You know what it is, bro.